Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Loving Kindness class here at the Dharma Bum Temple, kind of online version. My name is Alex. It is wonderful to be here with you this evening. This is, I think, probably the last evening we're going to be doing this online from my home. Now, when the temple opens again next week, or on the 12th, I should say, no, this is second to last one, sorry. When it opens up on the 12th, I don't know if we're going to be doing online as well. I would think so since we did it before, but we'll see. I'll find out some more information a little bit later. Again, the temple will open back up on March the 12th. I hope everything goes well. Look forward to seeing you the week after that. That week, I'm actually out of town on vacation, my first vacation in 2 years, so that'll be super duper fun. But I'll certainly see you the following week. So I always ask people when they log on just to say hi, just to see who is there, and so I can say hello to you. So hello to you, Gene. Thank you so much for saying hi. Really appreciate that. Oh, and hello to Mr. or Miss Fras Sushi. Hope I pronounced that correctly. I hope you're doing well, and this week isn't too stressful for you, and that you're practicing loving kindness whenever you can, and that you're not getting too down on yourself when you miss. Thank you. when you maybe are not as loving and kind as you could be. And that's the wonderful thing about this practice, is that we're not, hi Sherry, that we're not expecting perfection from you. That would be non-productive and not really fruitful for your development. When we take the precepts in Buddhism, normally we do this every day. Like every time we begin to meditate, we take these precepts of non-harming, and the language that we use, certainly the language that I use, is I undertake the training precept to refrain from, whether it's killing living beings or stealing or speaking incorrect speech or intoxicants or something like that. And this language is actually really purposeful. Is we're saying that I undertake the training precept, like this is training. I'm going to try my best to do this, and we use the word refrain instead of absolutely don't do this, to also further designate that we're trying our best here. We're trying to do this perfectly, but we know we're not going to always succeed 100% perfectly, but we're getting there. And it's a way just to kind of breathe in this practice, and it's a way just to kind of give ourselves a break, and so we don't get consumed by greed, or don't get consumed by guilt and shame just because we do something wrong. And so I really, really like that. And I really think about that every time I take the precepts myself. And I was thinking a lot about that, like the last time I was meditating, which was last night. And, my mind got into this kind of like repetitive, this kind of recursive thinking, and I just couldn't really stop a lot of this recursive thinking how I normally do it. And so I have other tactics that I can use. And this one other tactic that really, really works for me is when I just stop and I just kind of have a conversation with myself, silently, when I say to myself, it's okay, Alex. It's okay. Just breathe in, breathe out. It's okay. I know you're doing your best. You can do this. And I have this wonderful, really gentle conversation with myself as I breathe in and as I breathe out, being as mindful as I can with the in-breath and the out-breath. And this emergency care for myself, this kind of extra care that I do, is something that I need sometimes when I get too in my head or too consumed with thoughts. And, whether sitting down or whether out experiencing my day, doesn't really matter. This gentleness, this extra gentleness always helps. As someone who deals with anxiety and depression and um, a lot of just overthinking and the anxiety that comes with that, something that this kind of this extra care, this extra blanket of warmth that I use for myself really helps. And if you're like that and someone who's prone to overthinking or gets down on yourself, um, when you get lost in thought in meditation and you keep on getting lost in thought and even getting lost in thought for long periods of time, instead of getting down on yourself, it's okay just to kind of stop what you're doing and have this wonderful conversation with yourself. You can call yourself by your name. It's okay, Alex. It's okay. I got you. Just breathe in. Just breathe out. And it's just, I think that you're going to find that that's going to really help a lot. And the other thing, one of the many things that I like this practice, there's many things that I like about this practice, but another thing that I like is that this kind of flexibility is always available to you. You don't have to be rigid and like doing meditation one way, in one way only. We've done this loving kindness meditation a few different ways, and all of those are perfectly okay. All right. So, hello, Roberto. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. All right. So, I was just kind of thinking about that because this happened really recently, and we talked last week about all the things that are going on in the world, and I didn't really address it much, like with what's going on in Ukraine and wars and what's kind of happening there, and the news is just kind of 24/7 on this war, and people are getting, when there's a lot of fear and uncertainty going on, this catapults a lot of people into this suffering, into this grasping and clinging for wanting to know up-to-date news on what's going on and what's happening, and looking at atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, intermixed with a lot of acts of bravery and things like that. And it hooks us. It hooks us so quickly and so easily. And this is a time, because we are so prone to react and respond to this uncertainty and fear with more just watching and consuming and getting anxious and getting upset and all this kind of stuff. And it's really important that we take this time and just turn off the TV, turn off your phone, or at least stop watching this just for a little bit. I'm not saying just totally disconnect from understanding what's going on in the world. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about this kind of radical self-care that you take. And that's exactly what this is. What's going on in Ukraine is terrible. It's horrible. And when I meditate, I think about this, and I send these people, loving thoughts as much as I can. But I know that consuming too much of this news and getting really bent out of shape about it is just going to hurt me. It's going to hurt me in a way that I'm not going to be able to respond in the best way. Right? I'm not going to be able to respond with kindness and compassion for myself and others. I'm just going to be too upset about it. Right? And there's only so much, as we can do living here. I mean, if you want to donate to organizations to help with Ukraine, absolutely do that. Absolutely do that. And do what you can, of course. But understand that too much consumption of this news is not helpful. It is not helpful. It's going to suck you in unless you're incredibly mindful about it. And this is going to cause you a whole lot of suffering. And we don't want to add to the suffering in the world. We don't want to add to it. We want to respond to it with loving kindness and with mindfulness and with all the tools that you've been given in this class and other classes here at the Dharma Bum Temple. But the constant consuming of this news is just going to cause you more suffering. We want to stay away from that as much as possible. You can keep in touch. You can understand what's going on. That's fine. Right? But this is a time where you need to practice some radical self-care. And you can do that and help. You can do those things at the same time, right? They're not mutually exclusive. All right. So with that information, what I'd really like to know from you is how you're doing. You can talk about Ukraine. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's perfectly fine. I want to understand kind of what you're going through right now. And I want to do this before we actually get down to the meditation on loving kindness, which we're going to definitely do. And so if anyone wants to chime in or share in the chat box about kind of what's happening with you, what you're going through, what you're struggling with, what you're happy about, what you're grateful for, all of those things are fine. And of course, when we open the temple, this is going to be a lot easier. That's kind of the hard thing about asking questions here in this forum. There's like I think a 10-second, 20-second delay or something like. I don't even know how long the delay is, but it's a bit. So it's not really conducive to a lot of kind of back and forth engagement. But I try my best. Gene Anderson, yeah, I'm knitting a lot. Good, that's fine. I know you knit lots of hats. That's wonderful. Keep doing that. And that's actually a wonderful kind of positive, just kind of, distraction, because I know with your knitting that you're helping a lot of people. You knit hats for the homeless, etc. So that's a wonderful thing to do, because you're doing something for somebody else and you're helping yourself in the process. Radical self-care reminds me of the lyrics of the song by Pink called Perfect. Change the voices in your head and make them like you instead. I think meditation helps one change the voices in one's head. Absolutely. And, the other thing that it does, and I'm really glad that you brought this up, Sherry. Thank you so much for this comment. I really appreciate that. The other thing that it does, and the other thing that kind of mindfulness does and loving kindness does, which is kind of a form of mindfulness, is that it teaches you what thoughts to ignore. It creates better thoughts, but that doesn't mean these other thoughts don't come creeping in. Of course they do. They always will. When the Buddha first became enlightened, every day for the next 20 years, it is said that Mara, the tempter god, tempted him and tried to distract him every day for 20 years until he kind of gave up, and so because this happened to the Buddha, it's going to happen to us too, right? But he was always very mindful, and every time that Mara came, he knew it was Mara, and because he knew it was Mara, he knew that he could ignore it, that he could reject it. He knew it because he knew who that was and what that was. And with this kind of mindfulness and mindfulness in general and mindfulness of loving kindness, a lot of what that's going to do is it's going to allow you to know these thoughts that are coming in that aren't so wonderful. It's going to help you understand what you can just ignore or what you can just leave in the background until it finally goes away. Because they're going to come. And that's okay. You replace them with better thoughts, just kind of like this song you're talking to me about. I know that song too. And when these other thoughts come in, you're going to be able to see it, know it, and reject it, or just ignore it. And it's not going to affect you in any way, because you're going to have that kind of wisdom, that kind of mindfulness, that kind of understanding, that kind of view. Right? The first two steps in the first step in the Eightfold Path is right view. Sometimes they also call it right understanding. And so be able to see this, and you'll be able to know what it is, and you'll be able to reject it and just leave it in the background. And the more you practice this and understand that this is what's happening, the less that these intrusive thoughts are ever going to really bother you. But of course, it takes a whole lot of practice. But you can do it. We can do it together. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they'd like to share about kind of what's going on with them, or things that they're bothered by, or you want to talk about that you're grateful for, or kind of anything before we start our meditation? I'll wait about 30 seconds or so, because I know there's a delay. Okay, you don't have to say anything. That's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do this meditation. If I don't know if anyone here is new, but we're going to go ahead and do this in a little bit different way. If you're used to doing a loving kindness meditation, we do it a little bit differently here. We really focus a little bit more on loving kindness for oneself, and kind of really doing what's easy, so that when we get to doing loving kindness for ourselves, it doesn't seem so daunting and so difficult. Because that's the kind of the problem, the issue with like doing loving kindness meditation. When we're doing the most important kind of loving kindness, which is loving kindness for yourself, it can be really, really challenging. So we're trying to make it easier, right? All right. So everybody go ahead and take your seated position. Get nice and comfortable. We're going to spend, again, like the first 5 minutes just getting connected to the breath, and really kind of getting into the meditation. And so we're going to do that for the first 5 minutes, and we'll do our loving kindness part. All right. Let's begin. So just allow your eyes to close, making sure that you have that seated position that's nice and comfortable for you, nice and sustainable, so you're not likely to move around too much. And when we sit like a Buddha. And you can even imagine yourselves as a Buddha sitting underneath your own tree of enlightenment. And you can choose whatever tree you want. You can just picture yourself sitting under there, ready for the day's abiding, which is said to be the sublime abiding, this loving kindness meditation, this metta meditation. So let's just get connected to the breath. So let's just take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. Focusing on the breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. Maybe even focusing on the breath energy, just nourishing the body. If there's a part of the body that you need to nourish, You can just direct the breath energy to that part of the body. And just for the next couple of moments, let's just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. Now, to begin our practice of loving kindness metta meditation, we're first going to think of a benefactor. And a benefactor is anyone who has shown us great love and great kindness. Someone it's really easy to have these feelings for. Someone who you've already experienced their love and kindness. You've already let that enter your heart. So this is why it should be really, really easy to do this part of the meditation. And so just think of them in your mind's eye, and you smile, and you just radiate loving kindness to them, wishing them happiness, wishing that they do the things that cause happiness, which is their skillful thoughts, words, and actions. And you can just radiate loving kindness to them. And however you understand that word, it could be one benefactor, two, they could be living, they could be not living. Doesn't matter. We just wish them loving kindness. We wish them that they do the things that cause happiness for themselves and for others. So we'll just do this for the next few moments. Loving kindness for our benefactor. And smile, smile. And now shifting our focus just a little bit from loving kindness for our benefactor to now imagining our benefactor doing this practice for us. And it could be the same benefactor, a different one. We already have that experience of their loving kindness. And so we're just going to imagine them as they radiate loving kindness to us. And the only thing that we really have to do is just allow all of it. Allow all of their loving kindness into our heart. And this is where it helps to put your hand over your heart, listening for any tension, tightness, any part of your heart that says, no, I can't receive all of this. And that's okay. Just understand that's happening with no judgment or evaluation, and using the breath energy, just directing the breath energy into that tightness. Maybe it loosens and maybe you give it a little more space. And you keep smiling. It helps so much. And you receive as much of their loving kindness as you can. And so we'll do this for the next few moments. And now shifting our focus again to loving kindness for ourselves. So just begin to call to mind your own wish to be happy, your own wish to be free from suffering, free from pain, healthy, happy. It's a wish we all have for ourselves. And there's nothing wrong with wanting any of that. And so we gently repeat phrases of loving kindness to ourselves. Phrases like, may I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body, in mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can choose one or more of those phrases and just gently repeat them to yourself, to your heart. Still smiling. Very important. Maybe still keeping your hand over your heart. So we'll do this for the next few moments. And finally, we can explore the limitless quality of the heart by doing this practice for all beings in all directions. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, may all beings be at ease. And just go as far out as you can, radiating loving kindness over the entire world, upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded. And we'll do this to end our meditation. Just open your eyes when you're ready. So let's just take the next moment or two out in silence as you stretch your arms and you stretch your legs. Keeping that mindfulness of loving kindness about you. If you have any questions or comments on the meditation, a particular meditative experience you'd like to share or talk about or have questions about, the chat box is open for you. Love to hear from you. Before we get there, Marcel, hello. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. And for Susie, hello, Susie. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's hard when you have difficult roommates. You know, there is kind of mindfulness about kind of what's going on with you, and trying to make it about your reaction to them, and what you can do to protect yourself. In those situations, um, maybe getting a new roommate that's a possibility. It's really hard. It's hard to know. Hi there, Choopy. Wonderful. Have you been with us before? I am Choopy, or message retracted. Very interesting. Oh, there you go. Oh, hi, Lisa. Oh, I know. I know it's you. Silly. Hi. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Happy anniversary. I don't look at Facebook all that often, but I think I saw you and your hubby there. Definitely moving. Susie says, waiting to see about a job requiring relocation, surrendering the details to the flow at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes that's all you can do, right? We all want things in a certain way, and our ability to just understand that we don't have control over that and just kind of surrender to whatever happens, to things that are not in our control. It's always a difficult kind of thing, especially when we got like a really kind of crazy situation like you have going on, where you just want to get out of there, and it could just, it just kind of adds to things. So you're doing good. The really interesting thing, and I don't know if this is, Susie, if this applies to you at all, is that so many places now, I mean, you're talking about relocation, and requiring relocation. So maybe, remote work isn't possible for this job. But that's one of the things that, I mean, if you're looking for a benefit of this pandemic, was that working remotely has been so embraced where it can be. In my particular job, I work for a small software company down in San Diego, and yet we're all remote. I went to the office because we have one of our remote workers is from Minnesota, and she came down, and I adore her. And so we have lunch together, and it was so fun just to kind of catch up. And I'm going back down there tomorrow because she's going to be here tomorrow as well. And but it's going to be really super fun, and planning and stuff like that. But other than that, yeah, we can all work remotely, and so where you can, that's awesome. The dark side of our mirror neurons. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means something really profound and awesome. I'm sorry. I don't like to pretend I know something that I don't. And I don't know what you're talking about. Although I do like your profile picture there. I just like purple. All right. So, we have a few minutes here. Did somebody want to talk a little bit about or share their experience of meditation? Or if you have a question, this is a wonderful time to ask it, because odds are the question that you have, probably somebody else has as well. Don't be shy. We're opening back up. Like I said, we're opening back up on the 12th. So that is 10 days from now. So Wednesday. So Saturday after next. So that should be awesome. I don't know about masks or anything like that. I'll try to find out more about that. And again, I'm not going to be there that first Wednesday. We're still going to have a class, but I'm not going to be there just because I'll be on vacation in Sedona hiking. I love that up there. And so it's really exciting. We're all looking forward to it. We would all prefer that over an online class, and I absolutely understand that. Whether we'll still be online, probably, at least for a little bit, because I know there's still going to be people who are not terribly sure and who want to be extra cautious, and we want to be sensitive to that. So again, but that's just, I'm assuming, which is not always great. So I'll try to have some more information about that next week as well. Thank you. Yeah, it was really fun. It was really fun to plan. I remember, the last couple of years in COVID, I didn't go anywhere. So I didn't go anywhere. So, I found myself getting just really just kind of anxious and just not feeling great. And I realized, you haven't gone anywhere. And so I'm not going very far. But it's a beautiful place if you haven't been to Sedona. And they have so many hiking trails and incredibly beautiful scenery and energy vortexes, if you believe in that. I don't know. But it's beautiful anyway. And I have visited the Amitabha Stupa and Peace Park in Sedona. I go a couple of times, at least every time I go to Sedona. It's incredibly beautiful. And so Susie was saying that I was referring to the fact that our nervous systems respond to energy without our permission until we wake up and learn to master the minutia. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a kind of a wonderful thing that I was actually, in a related topic, sort of thinking about that. Thinking about free will, and it's really just kind of funny how free will was explained to me, because we think we have free will to do lots of things, but a lot of times we really don't have free will. And I'm actually stalling so I can actually draw a little picture for you about how this was explained to me. Pen. So, we think we have a lot of free will, but a lot of our behavior is conditioned behavior. In fact, almost all of it. Our behavior is conditioned by our experiences, our joys and our sorrows in life. And, it's only with, a whole lot of meditation and the development of wisdom that we can really be free in our actions and making sure that our actions are positive and skillful and all those different types of things that really kind of demonstrate true free will. And let's see if I can do this. My incredible drawing skills. I don't know if you can see this. You can't see this because it's too. Okay, there you can see it better. All right, so look. This is a rock. This is the Buddha. Absolutely no free will. The ultimate in free will. He has all free will. And we want to know kind of where we're at in the equation. Like, where along this line do we fit? That's us. Right here. Right? So much of our behavior and our what we do, we think is free will, but it's not, not done with a whole lot of wisdom. And you may take a look at that drawing and think, oh my God, that's so depressing. But it's actually wonderful. It's actually incredible and very helpful to know where we're starting from. And with the development of wisdom, we keep on going. We keep on going until eventually the promise that the Buddha himself makes is that we will get to where he is. And we know it's going to take a while. It'll take several lifetimes. And that's just kind of understood, really, especially in the predominantly Buddhist countries. It's really understood there. But sometimes we're going through so much suffering, it seems very, very a daunting thing. But with that wisdom comes the understanding that, yes, it's going to take a while, and that's okay. Sherry says, the Cyber Sangha is far flung now. Remember when we were hybrid, you still had the same number online. Yeah. It was about the same number online. Yeah. It was super interesting too, because the people who were actually coming into the temple, a lot of times, like I saw Marcel and like Lisa and Jean. Well, I don't think Jean actually came, but Tamara came, and maybe a couple other people that I would see. But a lot of people just kind of stayed online. Like, no, it's not really safe for me. I don't really feel great about this, even though there's distancing and masks and all that kind of sort of stuff. And maybe it was even more of a convenience thing that I'll just stay online. And that's okay too, right? But I love this. I know this looks depressing and daunting, but it's really not. It's really wonderful news. Again, this was explained to me like years and years ago, and that has been burned into my head, burned into my brain. We'll get there, guys. We'll get there. All right. Thank you guys so much for showing up and for being here and sharing in this practice with me. I really appreciate it. I really get so much out of this with you. Again, I'm going to be here next week doing this class. And yeah, that's right. I saw you on homeless hats, right? Oh, okay. That's good to know, Jean. Thank you. So thank you again for coming again. And like we do at the end of every class, let's join our palms together at our hearts. And may the benefits of this meditation, this discussion, be received by all beings in all directions. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be joyful and at ease. May all beings be happy. May all beings be loved and seen for the beautiful, radiant beings that they are, that you are. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful to see you all and kind of interact with you again. And we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your week. All right. Love you all.